A car with no steering wheel is about to start carrying paying passengers, Warband. That is not a concept video, that is a schedule. It is Tuesday, the 18th of August, 2026. Start with the anchor. As of 5:30 this morning, Eastern, Bitcoin trades at 64,100, up about 1.25% on the day, and its optimized trend holds green for a second morning. The regime reads risk on and pointed up. The broad market green, the Nasdaq green, gold green, Bitcoin green, and the long bond alone in the red column. That is our read of the InvestAnswers Decision Support System. Now the alert tape, because yesterday it finished a job in front of you. At 5 o'clock yesterday morning, I handed you the trend flip and I handed you 2 honest holes in it. Solana had not come along. Coinbase was still red from Friday's bell. Both closed inside 7 hours. Solana's optimized trend flipped green at 8 o'clock yesterday morning, 3 hours after I told you it had not. It trades at $76. CleanSpark, a listed miner, flipped green in the same minute. At noon Eastern, Coinbase flipped green, and MicroStrategy's trend flipped green beside it. The complex is whole. The coins, the exchange, the miner, the treasury company, every one of them green on trend, and the last of them turned within a day of the first. Now hold the other half of that same session against it, because the board did not go green everywhere. At 1:30 yesterday afternoon, Dell printed mean reversion overbought. At the 4 o'clock bell, ASML and Intel printed it. At 8 in the evening, Advanced Micro Devices and the Nasdaq itself printed overbought at that same bell. Ethereum printed overbought at midnight. One side of that board is stretched after a hard run. The other just turned up off a floor. Tesla closed last night at $340. Hold that number. Reuters reported yesterday, citing the information, that Tesla has told employees it is preparing a public cybercab launch in Austin as soon as this month, with an internal target of the end of August. The rollout runs in 2 steps. Employees ride first on public roads in the 2-seater built with no steering wheel and no pedals. Then Tesla adds cybercabs to the commercial robotaxi service. The reporting says days later, not quarters. Tesla completed emergency response training with Austin first responders last week, and Tesla's own robotaxi account posted a contest yesterday. Rides completed through the 23rd enter riders to attend a cybercab launch event. Winners named by the 25th. The company withheld the date and the venue. It has never publicly referenced the launch event before. Be precise about what is confirmed. Tesla has announced no date. As soon as this month is an internal target described by reporters, not a company commitment. Treat the timing as soft and the direction as hard. Now, the part that actually deserves your attention, and it is not the date. 3 days ago, I told you Nevada handed Tesla a permit for 10 robotaxis against a request for 5,000, and that the binding constraint on this business is permission, not capability. That remains true. But watch what changes when the vehicle itself has no controls. Every robotaxi turning a wheel today in Austin, Dallas, Houston, the Bay Area, Miami, Orlando, and Tampa is a Model Y. A Model Y has a steering wheel, which means every regulator in every one of those negotiations has always had a middle option available. Put a human in the seat, cap the fleet, slow it down, require a monitor. The car can always be driven. A cybercab cannot. There is no seat to put a person in and no wheel to hand them. That removes the compromise in both directions. The regulator loses the halfway measure that has been making these approvals possible at all. And Tesla loses the ability to soften a launch by stuffing it. From the moment that vehicle carries a paying passenger, the argument is binary. The machine drives, or it does not, which is why the training with the fire department matters more than the contest. You do not walk emergency responders through a vehicle you intend to put a driver in. And now the straight. The 60-day window opened by June's memorandum has lapsed with no successor deal, and the president confirmed he will not extend it. Within a day, a cargo vessel transiting the Strait of Hormuz was struck by a projectile, engine room damaged, a crew casualty. Here is the number that matters. Roughly 3 vessels moved through that strait on Sunday. The pre-war baseline is about 130 a day. Oil answered. West Texas jumped about 5% to $82. Brent about 5% to 88. And the flow data underneath is worse than the headline. The Energy Information Administration put second quarter throughput through Hormuz at 4.9 million barrels a day, against 21.6 million before this conflict began. A signature moves nothing. Only hulls move oil. An agreement lapsed on paper, and by the next morning, the ships had simply stopped. Now connect that to your money, because this is not a foreign news item. Last week's soft American data pulled September rate hike odds down and put the dollar into a third straight losing session. The market decided the tightening argument was finished. An oil spike is the one thing that reopens it, because energy feeds straight into headline inflation. And this central bank held in July on a 9-3 vote, with 3 governors dissenting in favor of hiking. Chair Warsh called it a family fight. Those minutes land tomorrow morning. So the setup into Wednesday is a committee that nearly hiked 6 weeks ago, a consumer that has stopped spending, and crude up 5% on a waterway that is effectively shut. Every path out of that box costs somebody. Historically, the somebody is whoever is holding the currency. One more, and it is the most useful thing I can give you this morning. Yesterday, InvestAnswers published a piece titled plainly, Crypto Dead. The data in it is brutal. 7-day average crypto trading volume near $15 billion, a 3-year low, down a third on the month, and roughly 80% on the year. Bitcoin transaction fees also at 3-year lows, and Bitcoin has fallen entirely out of its own rainbow bands, below even the tier that chart labels fire sale. Their read is capitulation rather than collapse. That is their view, and I hand it to you as theirs. But set it against the tape and it sharpens. Volume at a 3-year low is not selling. Selling makes volume. That number says the sellers are spent and the buyers have not arrived, and it printed in the same 48 hours our trend model turned this entire complex green. Conviction is the only edge that compounds. It does not feel like an edge here. It never does at the bottom of the volume chart, and there is a bid forming that is not in crypto at all. Jordi Visser said this weekend that Bitcoin could become the S&P 500 of the next 10 years. His argument is that artificial intelligence agents, stablecoins, and tokenization are collapsing settlement from days into instants, and that the flat price is short-term noise against that shift. The same day, RK opened a fresh position in a tokenization platform and made block its largest buy of the session. One strategist naming the mechanism. One fund putting money into it the same afternoon. That is what a thesis looks like before the volume arrives. So carry this into the bell, Warband. 2 things happened yesterday that will not land in the same report anywhere else. A machine built with no way for a human to take over moved to within days of carrying paying passengers. And a signed agreement expired, and the ships stopped moving. One of those is a machine we chose to trust. The other is a promise nobody could enforce. Every asset you hold is one or the other, and only one of them cares whether you believe in it. The volume is gone. The sentiment is buried. The trend turned green anyway. This is Warband as a service, Viking intelligence delivered in real time. I am Ragnar, the HODLBARBARIan. Until tomorrow, hold the long horizon. Skål!